Hey everybody, welcome back to Linux for Everyone and welcome home. For those not familiar with it, Elementary OS is a streamlined Linux desktop OS that enforces minimalism without sacrificing style. Way back in my first year of using Linux, I stumbled across it, developed quite the crush on it, and tried to embrace it as my daily driver distro. That's because despite some of the developers' divisive doesn't mean wrong, it just means controversial, approaches to OS design, like rebuking the ability to minimize windows and initially, way back then, rejecting a dark mode option, it remained an absolutely gorgeous, elegant, focused experience. It came into my life at a time when I was growing more and more irritated with so-called flat design, menu options all in monochrome, icons that looked boring and required guesswork to figure out their function. Then there was Elementary OS, giving me a level of Mac minimalism and familiarity combined with a playful dose of skeuomorphic design and enjoyable pops of color. To put it another way, Elementary OS it's just fun to look at and interact with. Plus, the Elementary OS team proved and continues to prove that you can do all of that and still excel at accessibility, an area the team puts considerable effort into. But ultimately, I was lured away by distros and desktop environments that were more conducive to tinkering, because that's just where I was in my Linux journey. And I'll always remind myself and you that it's remarkable how there's always a Linux distribution that fits your exact preferences and personality. With Elementary OS 8.1 releasing today, I wanted to be adventurous and revisit things after using mostly Fedora and Arch-based distros with KDE Plasma for the last 6 years. I expected my muscle memory to encounter some serious resistance and discomfort after not using Elementary OS since 2019, and I was right. This video was originally going to be entirely different. Earlier this week, I sat down with a preview build of Elementary OS 8.1 and originally wanted to make a video with some thorough first impressions. After several hours, I realized my narrative was getting increasingly negative. I was frustrated that I had to use a keyboard shortcut or a right-click menu action just to minimize a window. Frustrated that the thoughtful onboarding tour only appears during your first boot and then seems to vanish from the OS. Frustrated that I couldn't sort the software in the App Center by only apps that are designed for Elementary OS. Frustrated that the default apps felt too simple and limited in scope. And I scrapped all of it. Not because Linux for Everyone tries to maintain a positive tone, not because I was being critical. I scrapped it because I was being unfair. I was quickly falling into an attitude that so many of us get stuck in, the "it's not working" trap. In reality, Elementary OS 8.1 works perfectly fine. It's honestly better than I remember it. It just doesn't work perfectly fine for me, for my tastes and my unique needs. And you know what? That's what truly frustrates me, because Elementary OS is pretty awesome and it deserves to be discovered by more people. I wish it could be my daily driver. And if you stumble across this video someday and you're researching whether or not Elementary OS or any Linux distribution is right for you, do not rely on the subjective opinion of someone who hasn't been actively using that distribution. Their hot takes aren't developed through the lens of experience. They're developed through the lens of personal preference and muscle memory. Instead of drilling down into any perceived negatives, I want to share what I genuinely appreciate about Elementary OS 8.1 and offer some reasons to give it a serious look. Last year, in 2024, Elementary OS 8.0 gingerly introduced a new optional secure session powered by Wayland. After spending 2025 fixing a wealth of bugs reported by users, seeing third-party developers updating their apps to support Wayland-based sessions, and watching NVIDIA make necessary improvements to its drivers, the team decided to make Wayland the default session for Elementary OS 8.1. Crucially, at least for me, I'm overjoyed to see fractional scaling now, in addition to the existing font scaling that's up there in the panel, as well as Pipewire. I saw absolutely zero paper cuts using OBS Studio, recording audio, or editing this video using Kdenlive. Also 1 year ago, Elementary OS integrated FlatHub into the App Center. Before that, software availability was a lot more limited. And I mention this because maybe you're someone who ditched Elementary OS or never considered it in the past because it didn't have the apps that you needed. That situation has definitely changed, and it's refreshing to see the enormous Flatpak ecosystem ready to enjoy out of the box. The colorful elegance of Elementary OS was always on full display, but it's even more prominent now. There's never been any doubt that the desktop paradigm and visual flourishes were inspired by Mac OS. But while Apple has clearly lost its way with the atrocious Liquid Glass update, Elementary has leaned into subtle, user-focused refinements, and it comes out the other side, I think, significantly better for it. It is an OS that is beautiful, but not distracting. If you're a Mac OS refugee or you're planning to be one, I think you should absolutely start here. And my hot take, if you want one, is that it's the best looking distro in existence right out of the box. So let me run down a bunch of other things that I really love about Elementary OS 8.1. First, the Elementary OS team addressed an astounding 1,100 issue reports during the last year, with fixed bugs accounting for 72% of those reports. It's a small team making big swings, and the fact that they're approachable and listen to feedback is a big deal to me. A vast majority of the improvements and additions to 8.1 are a direct result of community feedback. There's more granular control over notifications now. Also, I still believe that charming chime and the way notifications are delivered is unmatched by anything else out there. There is now a brand new and decidedly gorgeous monitor app for checking on your system resources, and you can choose to display some of those core vitals right up in the panel too. I also appreciate the new ability to restrict any Wi-Fi network to a limited data mode, which reduces background data usage when you're connected to it. And on a related note, jumping into airplane mode no longer disables Bluetooth, which is a great touch. And something many of you might appreciate, it only took 2 minutes and 22 seconds to install Elementary OS 8.1 onto my 3-year-old Asus laptop from a USB-A stick. That's really fast. I want to close this out with a quote from the gaming world that feels especially relevant here. After Helldivers 2 was released, the CEO of developer Arrowhead Studios, he said, "A game for everyone is a game for no one." The team at Elementary OS isn't designing a computing experience to make everyone under the sun perfectly happy, because that's impossible. It's designing an OS that's purposefully inclusive, intentionally streamlined, and utterly beautiful to use. If you're drawn to the particulars of the workflow and find some of these limitations refreshing, it's going to work exceptionally well for you. You're going to fall in love with it. My personal choice to use Bazzite as my daily driver, that shouldn't be viewed as an admonishment of the overall quality, utility, or appearance of Elementary OS. It's simply a reflection of my personal preferences. I use Bazzite because I'm a heavy gamer. I'm pretty immersed in the Steam ecosystem, and I like immutable distros. Honestly, Elementary OS 8.1, it's making such a strong impression on me, and I'm so attracted to its aesthetics that I'm bummed it's not my daily driver. Is it right for you? I absolutely encourage you to find out by downloading it and taking it for a spin. And if you're looking for some cool new Linux for Everyone merch, you can visit l4e.store, and you can also head over to the brand new linuxforeveryone.net. Until we chat again, take care and take care of each other. See ya.